Aside of having all of those simple wave shapes that you just seen in the lesson before, digital technology today allows us to have much more complex waveforms in a single oscillator. As in the example before, like we're not using a couple of oscillators to mix them and get a complex waveform. Right here in synthesizers today, like this one, which is a wavetable synth, we can have a really complex waveform inside one oscillator, just like this one. Aside of it being really complex and having much more than just a couple of sine waves or a sine wave in a triangle inside of it, has much more than that. It's also an oscillator that possesses inside of it many different waveforms in one oscillator, where we can use each one of those as a really complex wave shape, just like this, and we can morph through them. But more about that once we get to the synthesizers. But right now, I just wanted to show you that you can have an oscillator with a really complex waveform inside of it. Now, when I play it, you will see this exact same waveform right here on this oscilloscope. Let's try that out. You can see that it matches the actual oscillator inside the synth, what we are having in the oscilloscope. So shown, the actual real-time sound is shown to us in an oscilloscope to show us the waveform, and it really matches this one. Now I can morph through it. And you can see that it still matches the same thing. So this is the waveform that we are actually playing and producing. Now we have a lot more of those preset inside of the synth, so really complex waveforms that are already there for us. So digital technology really gives us flexibility in this sense. What we also can have is random waveforms, but in this synth, we have that in this noise oscillator where it's actually using audio files. Now, more on that when we get to the synthesizers. Right now, the complexity of a single oscillator is what we are interested in. So how else can we get that? Well, let's look at the other oscillator, where I'm going to start from scratch. I'm just going to go into this oscillator editor right here, where I can myself create a waveform of my own, just like this. Now I am creating, you see, flat lines in this grid line right here, but I can make that grid line more precise, just like this, and then create a more complex wave shape, just like this, and then maybe even smooth it out, like that. See that? So now I created my own complex wave shape by just hand drawing it. Now when I go back out, you can see it. It's right there. I can play it. This is exactly what we get. Now bear in mind that this oscilloscope is trying to discern where the beginning and the ending of our waveform is. And since this is complex, it's not just a simple sine wave. It's thinking that the start is somewhere else, like right there. So you see when I play it, can't really discern where the start is. Nevertheless, it's the same waveform, but shown to us in a different phase. So like this maybe. And you see it's a little bit phase offset, so this, little spike is not at the end, but somewhere near the end. So we have this actual beginning right here. Now, why I'm explaining this is just to show you that it is actually this waveform that the synthesizer is playing. So how crazy is that? You can actually draw your own waveforms inside the synth, just like this one. Now we have many more ways to do this by adding harmonics to each one of those, but more about that when we get the synthesizers and more complex types of synthesis, where I will explain all of these possibilities.